Time to warm up. Oh, yeah.
Keep going. We're live. Alrighty, let's do some yoga. Alright, so we're going to start as always on our backs in Shavasana. We have a noisy guest in the background today.
Sorry.
All right. So starting our back to Shavasana, and I want to sort of talk to you a little bit about what the resistance and ease is that I was titling this. So get cozy. Relax in your backs. Before I forget, I'm just going to put a link to my website in the chat if you want to connect. All right. So in yoga, we have the duality of effort and relaxation, or resistance and ease. So this duality, the yin and yang, if you will, are two parts to the asana and the pranayama practice of yoga. That's what we're doing here. We're doing physical postures, the asanas, and breath work, the control of the breath that stimulates the physical body is called pranayama. It is the life force. So prana is that life force. So pranayama is the expression of that life force through your breath, and that is what keeps you alive. So, in the Yoga Sutras, in the ancient yogic texts, if you will, my Sanskrit is not great, but I was going to Sitra, Sukama, Samana. And in this, it means that the asanas, or the physical postures, must have the dual qualities of alertness and relaxation, both effort and ease. And we're going to talk a little bit more as we go through our practice here today. So, lying down on your backs here, start to tune into your breath. And we're going to activate the Ujjayi breath. The whisper in the back of the throat. So, take a big belly breath in. Open your mouth and fog up glass in front of your face. This time, close your mouth halfway. Inhale, big belly breath in. Open that mouth, fog a mirror in front of you. Close the mouth halfway. Keeping that whisper in the back of the throat. Using that resistance in the back of your throat to ease your mind. And when you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, and we'll start getting into our physical practice here. Bending your knees and planting the soles of your feet on the ground. Maybe hugging your knees into your chest, rocking side to side. Releasing any tension throughout your back. And then when you're ready, plant the soles of your feet back down the ground, behind your sit bones, your hips. They can be wider if that's better for your knees. You can bring your feet to mat width distance or hips width distance, whichever works for you. We're gonna inhale into a dynamic bridge pose. So as you inhale, lift your hips up to the sky, keeping your thighs parallel with one another, coming up onto your shoulder blades. And as you do so, inhale your arms up to the ceiling, maybe reaching them overhead as you finish your inhale. Holding here for a moment, inhale just a little bit more breath, holding. And then as you exhale, slowly release your arms and your butt at the same time. We'll flow through that 3 more times. Inhaling, hips up with your arms. At the top, one more little inhale if you can. And then slowly release down. On the exhale, keeping that whisper in the back of the throat if you can for your Ujjayi breath. Inhale, hips up, arms up. Exhale, release. One last time. Make it the biggest breath yet today. Inhale. Expand through the front belly, the chest, and the back. One more sip of air, and then exhale, release. Let your knees, windshield wiper, dropping over to one side and then the other. Releasing that work, finding the ease. And then bring your knees over your hips, come into a reverse tabletop position, bringing your shins parallel to the ground, flexing through the feet like you're standing on the wall in front of you in a wall sit. And just take a notice on engaging your core here to hold your legs up, but not so much that you're crunching your lower back into the mat. So finding that place in your body where you are steady and you're strong, but you're keeping the natural shape of your spine. And then keeping your knees either together, glue them in and squeeze them, or hips width distance and activate. The action is squeezing in, but the position can be hips width distance. And then if this is a little much for you already, you can bring your knees more in towards your chest, keeping that shape, but just taking a little bit of that strength component out. Wherever you are, breathing here, and start to bring the palms of your hands onto your thighs. You can reach your palms up more towards your knees if you'd like to have straight arms, or you can keep them bent and on your thighs here. And we're going to activate the core by pressing our hands into our thighs, pressing our legs away with our hands, but keeping our legs in that position. So press and resist. Activate that core. Press it away. Breathing here. Keep pressing. Look up to the sky. Make sure that your neck is long here. And keep breathing, pressing in. Maybe try straightening your arms, bring them up to your knees. And resist those straight arms. One more long breath breath in, find the ease in your breath, even though the resistance is in your body. And then on your next inhale, release your legs, release your hands, hug your knees into your chest one more time, and start rocking and rolling on your back from your neck to your tailbone, long on the spine. And then roll over through a seated position onto all fours, tabletop, quadruped, whatever you want to call it. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over your knees. Take a moment here to press the tops of your feet into the ground or tuck the toes, finding whatever works best for your knees. And find a long spine here. Look at just the front edge of your mat. Find a long spine here. And we're going to go through some cat-cows. So as you inhale, press your hands into the mat. Inhale your chest through your arms, tailbone up to the sky. And then exhale, round your back to the sky. Press into your hands. Find that resistance of your hands pressing away to get deeper into that cat. Inhale through cow, chest through your arms, and try to drag your hands towards your knees here. Find that resistance. Exhale down your back to the sky. Press your hands away from your knees. 2 more times. Inhale through cat, drag, or through cow. Drag your hands to your knees. Exhale, down your back to the sky, pressing your hands and your knees away from each other. One last time, inhaling through cow, drag your hands to your knees without actually moving them. And exhale, down your back, press your hands away. And then come back through center, neutral spine. We're going to use quite a bit of that pressing and pulling away. And that's the action. The position of your hands stays underneath your shoulders, but using that action to find the resistance. Bring your right hand up and your arm in line with your ear. Palm faces towards your face, like you're going to shake somebody's hand, but not actually, because we're in the time of Corona. And then on your next inhale, you can reach your left leg back. You can keep your toes down on the ground, or inhale your foot to hip height. Flexing through the foot so your toes are pointing directly down to the ground. Your hips are level with one another. Holding here, pressing into the grounded hand and knee, reaching away, finding stability through your core, holding through that resistance, finding some ease. Use your breath to find that. And then on your exhale, release your knee, and then thread your right hand palm face up underneath your chest and through the back side of that arm, placing it on the ground. Go ahead and bring your head and your shoulder onto the ground for a little thread the needle stretch here. Bringing that hand on the ground, maybe in front of your face. Pressing that into the ground to see if you can roll that left shoulder, trying to stack it on top of the right, but releasing the shoulders away from the ears. A few breaths here. Finding some ease and a nice shoulder stretch. One more breath. And then inhale back through center. Planting your right hand underneath your right shoulder, your left hand underneath your left shoulder. Finding that neutral spine again. And then inhale your left arm out in front, like you're going to shake somebody's hand. Bringing that arm as close to the ear as possible. And then inhale your right leg back, toes down or up. Keeping that foot flexed to the ground, your hips level with one another. No popping it up. Finding some ease here as you press your heel and your fingertips away from one another. Finding stability through the core. Your belly button reaches up towards your spine here. Press into that hand and the knee. Finding some length, some stability through the spine. One more breath. As you exhale, release that knee onto the ground. And go ahead and sweep that palm face up. Left hand underneath that right armpit and through all the way onto the ground. The back of your hand plants onto the ground. Maybe bringing that right palm in front of your face, pressing it into the ground. Finding some release through that shoulder. The resistance here is in our flexibility. Finding some ease to release that tension. One more breath. And bring yourself back up to all fours, slowly unthreading that needle. Bring your hips or your knees wider than hips with distance, toes together. Sit your butt back into a child's pose. I'm just gonna take off my socks real quick. It's finally warming up. And then reaching your arms forward in your child's pose. See if you can sink your hips any deeper. Pressing into the palms. Maybe spider walk your fingers closer to the edge of the mat out in front of you. And then press into your hands. Press into your hands so much that your elbows lift up off the ground. Externally rotating those arms, reaching your elbow pits up towards the sky. And then drag your hands back towards your knees. These are all the actions, right? Your hands are still set in place, using those actions to activate the arms here. And then look up at your fingertips, if you'd like. Bringing your hips up slightly, tucking the toes under, reaching your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pressing into your hands and pressing into your feet, finding that resistance, like in cat-cow, but here, what you're pressing into is your hands and your feet to get your hips higher. And then reach that right foot to the sky, back behind you. Keeping the toes flexed down to the ground, hips level with one another. Maybe on your next inhale, reach it higher if you can. And then exhale, bend that knee into your chest. Hug it into your chest so much, keeping your hips as high as you can up until the end. And then plant that foot in between your palms. Bring that back knee down to the ground. Maybe untuck the toes, whatever works for your knee. And sitting into your low lunge. Maybe staying here if this is a nice stretch for the front quad of your left leg. Maybe bringing your palms to your right thigh and start sitting upright here. Maybe sweeping your arms up and overhead, finding some stability here. And then start reaching your right foot in towards your hips. Keeping the position of your foot, but the action is going to be dragging that foot in towards your left hip, finding some stability, like you're trying to close your legs like scissors, and finding some stability through the hips here. Trying to reach both hips in together so you have a good base. The little nail at the cross section of the scissors is your hips, and they're pulling in toward one another as your legs are reaching towards each other. All right, holding here. One more breath. And then exhale, plant your hands, inch that right foot forward a few toe spider walks. And then reach your hips back as you straighten that front right leg. Walk your hands back towards your hips for your half monkey, your half splits, half Hanumanasana. Maybe wiggling your hips side to side to find the right stretch through the hamstring. So it's through the main belly of the hamstring. You're not feeling it too much through the knee. And if you are, bend that knee slightly. Maybe reaching onto your fingertips, reaching your chest forward. And if you're feeling right here, you can walk your hands towards your foot as you fold with a long straight back. Or stay popped up. Maybe even you can block some of those hands if you need to bring the floor up to meet you. And then go ahead and walk your hands forward, bend that knee, come back into your low lunge. And then tuck those back toes and pop up onto that back foot. We're going to come up into high lunge, Untitled. Pressing into your feet. You can always stay here or inhale, sweeping your arms up overhead. Coming into your lunge, finding some balance. Pressing into the right heel underneath that right knee. Making sure that they're stacked. Inhaling, maybe sweeping your arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, sweep your arms down and bend that back knee. Find some stability here. Same as the low lunge. Reach that right heel in towards that back foot. Try to drag your mat, folding it underneath you without actually moving the feet. Finding that action. Reach your arms back up to the sky. Keeping that stability in the core. If you'd like to cactus your arms, bending at the elbows and bringing your elbows down to shoulder height. Reaching that chest forward, finding a mini back bend through the upper part of your back, keeping your low back stable. Inhale back through center. And then go ahead and exhale. We're going to spin onto those back toes to plant the back heel. And then walk that in slightly so that we're coming into warrior two and those toes are angled in slightly. Maybe walking that right foot over so that the right heel is intersecting the left arch. Lining up here and then sitting deep. Right knee over your right ankle. If you need to walk it further because you're so strong, you can do that. Bring your hands to your hips and reach your chest up. You can look to the side here. And then reach your arms out to the side to a T, reaching it
Looking over those fingertips. Maybe turn your palms face up for a moment, releasing those shoulders away from your ears, and trying to find some activation from the lats. So the muscles that run through your back and your side up into your arms. See if you can hold your arms up there from the muscles underneath the arms. And then turn your palms face over. Making sure you're tracking that right knee to the pinky toe edge of that right foot. And then we're going to go through a few resistance warriors. And the theme of resistance and ease, we'll do a little bit of resistance here as a bit of a bone density support. So as you inhale, straighten both legs, reach your arms up overhead. And then exhale like you're moving through quicksand. Slowly resist down into warrior two. Same thing, inhale, slow, come up, dragging those feet closer together without moving them. And then exhale, slow back down. Reaching those feet closer together without moving them. One more time. Inhale, slow and straight. Exhale, slow and down. Holding your warrior two for another moment here. Dragging your feet closer together. I'll give you $20 if you can fold your mat underneath you. And then turn your right palm to face the sky. Release that left hand just to your thigh. And then reverse your warrior. Inhale, reach overhead. And then release your hands back down to the ground. Frame that right foot, hop up onto the left toes. And then step that right foot back down to down dog. Holding your down dog here for a moment. Inhale and exhale here, pressing your hands away from your feet here in your downward facing dog. And seeing if you can activate the legs more to reach those hips higher. On your next inhale, reach that left leg up to hip height, keeping the foot flexed, the hips level, maybe reach it higher. Holding here. And then inhale, shifting your knee to your nose, shifting forward, keeping the hips as high as you can until you bring that knee in and step it in between your hands. Bring the back right knee down to the ground. Maybe untuck the toes, maybe keep them tucked, whatever works for your knee. Sitting into your low lunge here. Coming up maybe to your fingertips and staying here. Maybe walking your hands up to your left thigh, sitting up right here. Maybe staying here. Maybe sweeping your arms forward and up. Working towards framing your face, framing your ears with your upper arms. Releasing your shoulders away from the ears as you externally rotate those upper arms, elbow pits to the back of the room, in other words. Sitting here any deeper into your low lunge to find a nice stretch. And then that action of closing your legs like scissors, right? Dragging that left heel back towards that right thigh. Breathing here. Don't forget about your ujjayi, pranayama. And release your hands down to the ground, framing that left foot. Walk those toes and that foot up a few inches towards the front of your mat. And then shift your hips back. Walk your hands back to straighten that front left leg, maybe flexing the toes up to the sky. Finding any amount of stretch through the hamstring here, maybe wiggling your hips side to side to find the best placement of your hips. It might not be level with one another. Here, in the traditional pose, it's taught to have your hips level with one another, but that doesn't work for everybody. Listen to your body. Keeping your hands close to your hips. Or if you're feeling great and you want more, start to walk your hands closer to that left foot. And with a long spine, keep a straight back here, folding forward over that left leg, any amount. If you'd like to come into the plank, if not, stay where you are. Breathe into the stretch. Finding your ujjayi breath if you lost it. And then shifting your hips back, forward, walking your hands into your left foot, repositioning your legs for a lunge. Tucking those right back toes under, popping up off that back knee. We're going to come up into high lunge or Anjaneyasana. Pressing that right heel away from you in the back, making sure that your left knee is stacked over your left ankle. And then inhale, maybe sweeping your arms up to high lunge, arms overhead. We're going to exhale, release the arms down, bend that back knee. See if you can get 90-90 here. Find some stability through the torso, sitting up tall, finding that resistance in the lower body and ease in the upper body. Inhale, maybe bring your arms back up to frame your ears. Maybe cactus your arms, bending at the elbow out to the side so that your upper arms are in line with your shoulders and your forearms and hands are reaching towards the sky. And then from here, maybe keeping your low back supported and straight, but finding a little bit of an upper back bend here. Inhale your chest, your sternum to the sky. Keeping that low belly, your belly button reaching towards your spine to support your low back. One more breath. Inhale, come back to your lunge. One more breath in your lunge. And then exhale. Go ahead and spin on your back toes to reach your heel to the ground. Turn those back right toes in slightly, so you're at more of a 45-degree angle. Maybe walk this front left foot over towards the right, setting up heel to arch alignment for warrior two. Bending into that front left leg, reaching your knee over your ankle here, wrapping that left butt underneath you. Inhale, reach your arms out to a T. Make sure your torso is upright. Maybe look to the side before you maybe gaze over your left fingertips. Breathing here in your warrior two. Strong warrior, Virabhadrasana B variation. And here, trying to buckle your mat underneath you. Pressing that left heel into the mat and trying to drag it towards your right back foot. I'm going to flow through a few of those resistance warriors. Inhale, straighten both legs, reach your arms up to the sky. And then exhale, like you're moving through sand, slowly resist back down into warrior two. We're just straightening and bending here. Inhale, slowly straighten, reach your arms up overhead. And then exhale, slowly resist it back down. Inhale, straighten, resist it. Exhale, bending, resisting. One more. Inhale, straighten, resist. Exhale, bend and resist. And hold your warrior two here for a moment. Maybe turn your palms face up like we did on the other side. And while you're here, expand your chest, palms face up. See if you can reach them out. Try and activate those lower arm muscles through the side and the backs of the body to hold up your arms. Right palm faces down, left palm faces up. Release that right hand to your right thigh. Reach your left arm up and over for reverse warrior. And then exhale, plant your hands on either side of your left foot. Pop up onto those right toes and step back to warrior two, down dog. Pressing your hands and your feet away from each other here. One more breath. Look forward in between your hands. Exhale fully. Bend your knees and bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, half lift. Fingertips to the shins. Reaching your chest forward, long back. And exhale, fold forward. Walk your feet hips width distance or wider. And then wrap your peace fingers, your pointer and your middle fingers around your big toes. Using your thumb to hold those fingertips. And bending your knees and your mouth to get your belly onto your thighs. Here, once your belly is on your thighs, you can work towards straightening your leg any amount and bending the elbows out to reach your chest down. See if you can release your shoulders away from your ears. Finding some resistance and some ease. One more breath. And then exhale, release your fingers from your toes. Keeping your feet wide or bringing them in. Go ahead and roll your spine up to standing, slowly stacking one vertebrae at a time. Keep standing in our Tadasana pose here. Grounding down through the legs, activating the legs, releasing the butt muscles so that we can reach those hip bones up towards our low ribs. Reaching your arms down and away from your shoulders. Find that broadness across your shoulders. Reaching the sternum or the center of your chest towards the sky. And then inhale. Sweep your arms out and overhead. Exhale, hinging forward, bending through the knees to fold. Inhale, half lift, fingertips to shins. And exhale, plant your hands, step back to a plank position. Here in your plank, knees up or down. Holding in your plank here. Bending a long spine here, broaden through the chest. Try to reach your chest through your arms. And then knees up or down. We're going into low plank chaturanga. Shifting forward to bend the elbows back in line with your ribs. And then release all the way to the ground. Walking your fingertips back so that your fingertips are in line with your nipples, your heels of your hands are in line with your lower ribs here. You can bring your forehead to the mat. And as you do so, roll those shoulders back and down, reaching those elbows towards your butt, pressing the tops of your feet into the ground. We're going to inhale, peel the chest off the mat for your low Cobra, Bhujangasana. Holding here. Nice, easy back bend. Might not feel easy if you're doing it. Finding that resistance ease. Breathing here, can you peel your chest up any more? Maybe press into your hands slightly. Press those hands away from your chest, keeping them in the same position. The action, pressing away, see what that does. And then the action of pressing your hands more in, trying to drag them in towards your hips. And then release your head. Maybe turn your cheek to one side. Release your hands down to your sides. Breathe here for a moment. Reset. We're going to do a sequence of belly down back bends here. When you're ready, bring your forehead back to the mat and reach your arms long out in front of your head along the floor, like you were in child's pose, reaching those hands long and away. Walking them as far forward as you can without reaching those shoulders towards your ears. So keeping your shoulders away from your ears, reach them as far forward as you can. Straighten your arms if you can. Press into the palms of your hands. See if you can reach your elbows off the ground. And then inhale into Cobra with extended arms. Inhale, peel your chest up off the mat. Maybe drag your hands in a few inches to give yourself a little bit more lift. As you do so, keeping your arms straight, maybe dragging them in slightly. Using that drag of the arms in as you press your hand into the ground to reach your chest up more. Inhale, reach your chest up, maybe your elbow pits up to the sky. Drag your palms in just a little bit more. This time the action and the position are both moving. Dragging those hands literally in towards your body. And then once you find a place that's great for you to work, keep your hands there. And press into those hands, keeping the position, the action of dragging them towards your chest. Inhale your chest forward and up. One more breath here. And then exhale, release your head, release your hands down by your side, maybe the opposite cheek to the mat. Bring your feet closer together to touch if you can. Broaden across your low back. Broaden across your tailbone Here, activating through the backs of the legs without squeezing the butt too much. Bring your forehead to the mat. Roll those shoulders back and away from your ears. Reach those arms up off the mat and towards your feet. And then, if you'd like more, inhale your chest up. Keep reaching those arms back and up off the mat. If you'd like more, inhale your legs up off the mat. Keeping them together, using those leg muscles, not the butt muscles. And holding here in our locust pose. Are you hungry for some grain? Holding here, inhaling, maybe reaching your arms back. Try and reach your palms together. See if you can reach them together behind your back here. One more breath in. And then exhale, release your hands, release your legs, release your head. And set your hands back up to where we started. Fingertips in line with those nipples. Tucking the toes under here. Activate the legs off the mat before pressing up into plank. And shifting back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Beautiful work. One more breath. On your next exhale, bend your knees, look forward at your hands. At the bottom of the exhale, bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Counter those back bends with some nice forward folding. Walk your feet about hips width distance. Walk them out. And then bring the palms of your hands underneath your feet. Bending your knees a lot. Bring the palms of your hands up to touch the soles of your feet. So the backs of your hands will press into the mat. See if you can bend your knees even more to get your toes to reach your wrist creases. The weight in the heels here as we're setting up. Bending your knees generously here to get your belly under your thigh, holding your hands under your feet, and then start to bring the weight into the balls of the feet to press into the wrist creases here. See if you'd like to straighten your legs any amount. Reaching those shoulders down your back. Use those arms to actively bring your chest closer to your legs as if you're pulling your hands away from your feet, but they're glued together. Using that action to pull your chest closer to your knees. 2 more breaths here. Where's your Ujjayi breath? Release your head. Shake it yes, shake it no. And then release your hands from underneath your feet. Inhale for a half lift, fingertips to the shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine, coming, standing up. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, release your hands down by your sides. Bring your toes to touch the front of your mat. And we're going to sit back into Utkatasana or chair pose. So you can bring your hands to your hips to start. Sitting your butt back, the weight goes into the heels as you sit back onto your pretend chair behind you. Maybe reaching the toes up towards your face off the mat, making sure you can see them past your knees. And then maybe inhaling, reaching your arms up overhead, reaching along spine here, sitting down deeper. And then as you exhale, sink all the way down. Wrap your arms around your knees as you come into a little squat ball. Hug your knees here in your little squat ball. Maybe tuck your chin in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug. There aren't enough hugs in this COVID time. And then go ahead and sit your butt back down. Stay seated upright here. Soles of the feet on the ground. Knees touching each other. Pressing your knees in towards each other. Guess what? We're going to do a little bit more core. Reaching the chest forward and up. Broaden through the collarbones here. Long spine. Start to shift your weight back. If you want to stay here, stay here. This is a great place. If you want more, inhale. Reach your lower legs parallel to the ground off the mat for your boat pose. You can point the toes, you can flex the toes. It don't matter. Inhale your arms out to the side in line with your legs here, reaching forward. Reach those knees in together. Tighten up that core. Belly button down towards your spine. Inhale here. As you exhale, slow resist down to low boat, where you're hovering your legs and your chest and your arms. And we're just going to rock the boat here. Rock side to side. As we rock the boat. Belly button down towards your spine. And then back through stillness and low boat. Release that effort. Not quite finished. Bring the soles of the feet onto the ground, knees to the sky. We're going to come into a bridge position, a static bridge, like how we started, but static, so still. As you inhale, reaching your hips towards the sky. And if this automatically doesn't feel great in your knees, my favorite modification here is walk your feet out to about mat width distance. Your feet can still be parallel with each other. And then inhale your hips to the sky, rolling onto your shoulders, maybe interlacing your fingers underneath your back to roll onto those shoulders. Here, inhale, your hips higher. Press your hands into the ground underneath you. Press your arms into the ground to find length through the front body. One more breath here. And then exhale, release your hands, release your hips. Come on down. We'll do that one more time. Bridge, or I'll give you the option for upward facing bow, aka wheel. If you know what that is, great. If you want to try it, be careful here. Turn your palms up to the sky, fingertips towards your face, and then put your palms on the ground underneath your shoulders so that your fingertips are facing in towards your shoulders, so that your elbows are pointing right up to the sky. Your hips and your feet are in the same position as bridge. If you're going to do this, we're going to inhale to the top of the head without any weight on the head before coming up fully. If you're coming into bridge, go ahead. Inhale. If you're coming up to wheel, inhale like you would bridge. And then press into the hands. Come to the top of the head without any weight. And then press to straighten the arms and the legs. Breathing here. One more breath. And then exhale, tuck your chin into your chest to bring your shoulders back down, your hips back down. If you had yourself in wheel, go ahead and release the wrists. Maybe interlace your fingers and roll through the wrists. And then with your feet hips width or mats width distance, let them fall over to the left. Your knees fall over to the left for a little gentle spinal twist. If it feels great here, awesome. If you want a little bit more twist, you can bring your right knee to stack on top of your left knee. Reaching that right arm away from you. Maybe looking over at that right hand. Finding some ease here. One more breath. As you inhale, go ahead and bring those knees back up, hips width or mats width distance. And let them fall right over to the right side. Staying here, or maybe stacking your left knee over your right knee. Trying to keep both shoulder blades on the ground, reaching that left arm away at shoulder height, maybe looking over to the left. Breathing here. One more breath. And then inhaling your knees back up to the sky. Maybe hugging them in towards your chest. Countering the back bends we just did. Hugging your knees into your chest. Maybe coming into happy baby if you'd like a little hip opener. Bringing your hands to the insides of your knees. Reaching to find the outsides of your feet. Reaching your tailbone down to the ground, your feet up to the sky, and then pulling your knees in towards your armpits here. Find some happy baby here, maybe rocking side to side. Maybe playing with your feet, straightening one leg and then the other. As we come to close our physical asana practice, we're going to release. So doing whatever else you need to do to find stillness. If you want to grab a blankie and cover yourself in a blankie, go for it. Releasing your legs down whenever you're ready. Coming back into your shavasana where you started. As you come to stillness, let all those little wiggles out until you can release into stillness, release into yourself. And what we do here on the mat, the physical practice of asana, the breath control of pranayama, those are just 2 limbs of yoga. There are 8 total. So there's a lot more to learn from just the physical practice here. Seeing what you can learn intrinsically from the physical practice, because a lot of times that's the gateway to learn more about the meditative, internal, mental practice of yoga. How we start doing it is through the physical practice and through the breath control. Because in order for our mind to be still, our bodies have to find some effort and ease to support us. And as you lay here, release the control over the breath. Relax fully. Release your tongue from the roof of the mouth. Release any tension around your face, around your eyes. And just notice if anything came up in your yoga practice. Adding a little bit of that mental component, the mental focus, attention to what's happening mentally and internally to you. And just notice what came up. It doesn't matter if it was good or bad, just notice it. And then start to wiggle the fingers here, bending at the elbows, and bringing your hands to your face. Give yourself a little face massage using your pointer finger and middle finger to rub into your eyebrows and around your eyes, maybe to your temples, up to your hairline, massaging to your forehead. In some schools of yoga, the sweat that you give off during a physical yoga practice is sacred, where you rub it back into your body. I'm not quite going to do that here, but get a little massage. Underneath the eyes, along the cheekbones, towards your nose. Give yourself a little bit of a rub there. Massaging down into your jaw, underneath your earlobes, down your jaw. And then release your hands. Bend your knees up to the sky. And then bring your left arm up in line with your ear. And then roll over onto the left side. Whatever's comfortable for you, maybe cross-legged. Keeping your eyes closed. Bring the palms of your hands together. And bring them into your chest. The light in me honors and respects the light in you. Or namaste. And with that, have a great day. I am accepting donations through Venmo and user, the same username as on here. With 10% of those donations going to the Plank Chaturanga for letting me use this beautiful studio, and then another 50% of those donations will go to a different charity each week. This week we'll go to Girls on the Run to supplement from last week. So have a great day. Tune in, check out my website if you want more yoga.